Hi, this is Mrs. Gerhart, and today I'm going to go over how to make sketches for your clay box. So with your clay project, you will be creating a clay box, and you can think of a simple shape. For example, I might use a square or a rectangle or a circle. Then once I've drawn the shape onto my paper, and notice I've split my regular size paper up into 4 parts, I'm going to create 2 that use a letter, border, and design, and I'm going to create 2 that use either a landscape, a cityscape, or a seascape as part of the design. So if I'm doing a letter border design, I'm going to start to think of either the first letter of my first name or the first letter of my last name, and you can think capital, you can think lowercase, you can even look online for some different fonts of what those letters might look like, or you can create your own. So I'm using the first letter of my first name, and I am using a lowercase letter for this one. Then once I have my letter, now I'm going to start to think of a border. What could I put around the outside edge of the overall piece? So maybe I'm going to do scalloped edge as a border, and I'm going to put that all the way around. Then I want to think of some type of design. Now I can come up with my own design, I can look online, I can put the design either in the letter, in the background, or in the border. So I have some Zentangle cards here that I'm going to take a look at. You might look online, and I like this idea of these little circles, and I'm going to start to place those inside of my letter. Now some of these parts might be created in clay and some of them may be painted later. It depends on how complex some of the designs become. Then, once I finish this design, now I'm not really all the way finished, but I think you can start to get the idea. Then I'm going to go on to the next one. So for this one, I can use the same letter or I can use a different letter. So my last name begins with a G, so I might use that for this one. I might even, go with the idea of it being a cursive letter, or I might take a look at, some letters online again. You get to decide, but think this is going to be made out of clay, so it has to have some type of thickness to it. It can't just be a thin line overall. So you want to think about how that might appear in clay. Then again, I'm thinking, what is going to be my border design around? I really like sewing, so maybe I'm thinking of the idea of stitching to create that outside border design. And next, I'm going to add a design into the background for this piece. So maybe I'm just taking the idea of stripes and I'm adding that into the background. Is this my best idea? Right now, I'm thinking it's not going to be my best idea, but I'm still completing it because I might surprise myself. After I'm done with the first 2 designs, then I'm going to move on to the next 2. So for example, I'm going to come up with either a landscape, cityscape, or seascape. This is one that I had done earlier, and you can see how one kind of is rolling hills, and I'm thinking this will be more of a winter scene, and then this one would be more of a beach scene. Where you're heading with this is you will be creating a box container out of clay, and you will be creating your letter, border, and design, or one of your landscape, cityscape, seascape designs as the lid. If you want an extra challenge, you might go with something other than a box. For example, maybe you're going to make a cup, or maybe you're going to make a different type of box. But then you want to think, is it in the shape of another object? For example, this is a recipe box made in the shape of a stove. And then this is a cup, and I'm starting to do the idea of sewing as a theme for the whole piece. So that would be an extra challenge if you want to go past those 4 sketches.